everybody, Kimberly Crawford here for My Favorite Things Stamps. And today I'm going to show you a little bit about coloring and how I color images. And I'm going to show you this cat here, and I just think this cat is so cute. And it is from the new set Cat-itude, which is really clever. And I just think this is really cute. Lots of different cute kitties in there, and I just gravitated towards this one because this one looks so much like my cat. And I want to talk about how to color it and how I color. And while, yes, I'm going to use colored pencils today, I'll tell you why I chose colored pencils. A lot of the things that I'm going to tell you today are just great for any type of medium that you are going to color with. So let's go ahead and let's get started coloring our cat. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how I stamp my images. Now, Cat-itude has coordinating dynamics so that you can perfectly cut out your images. So I have already cut my image out, and I've just used Sweet Tooth cardstock, and I'm inking up my stamp here, and I'm using the Hybrid Black Licorice ink. That's just my favorite go-to black ink. And I'm going to stamp my cat. Now, one thing that I really like about lining up these images is I have this black craft surface that I'm working on. If you don't have one, just grab a piece of dark cardstock, and what you're going to do is by lining it up over this dark, you can see the edges of your image. Then I'm going to lean my head in, and what I do is I lean over and I make sure that my image is lined up from top to bottom in all the edges, and go ahead and stamp. But you can see what a difference having that dark background behind your image makes. And there's my kitty. I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to set him aside. It's nice to let that dry for just a little bit, or heat set it so that it dries right away. So here's my kitty. And I'm going to use color pencils today. I chose color pencils for my kitty because I feel like color pencils leave a little bit of texture behind because they grab the toothiness and the texture of the paper. And so I chose colors. Now, in your colors, whether you have markers or pencils, you are going to find warm grays and cool grays. And warm grays are for natural things like animals, hair, things that are softer, okay, in tone. Cool grays are going to be for hard things like metal and rocks and those kind of things. So I have taken all my warm gray pencils, and I'm going to use those to build up the shading on my cat. And when you're coloring, feel free to go ahead and move your paper around so that you are able to reach the spots that you need to. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to lay a color, the lightest color, down with my colored pencil. The nice part about colored pencil is that you don't have to worry about keeping your edge wet or anything like that. You can just go ahead and color. And I don't know about you, but I love to color, and they say that it's very good for you. It makes you happy, and I know I am happy when I am coloring images. So for the focus of this video, I think what we'll do is we will just keep things right here, and we'll work from there. So now what I have is I have a base layer of color down. I have a good solid even amount of color. And now I'm going to go to my next darker color, and I'm going to start adding in some shading. And that's going to be where you're going to see some natural shadows. So you're going to want to pick a light direction. And I usually always pick light coming from this direction so that this is where I'm going to do my shading. So we're definitely going to add some underneath the collar because there's definitely going to be a shadow underneath the collar. And again, I'm just laying down a bit of light color. And I'm going to go a little farther down because I want to be able to add some shadow and shading to this. Okay, and I'm going to do along the legs because there'll be some shadow there. Okay, and here on the outside of the leg, because in this image, the legs are in the front. So we're going to want to put some color there, and I'm going to put some color along the bottom here. All right, so there we go. So now we've added some shading, and I'm just going to continue to grab the darker and darker colors of markers. And as I do that, or markers of pencils, I'm sorry, I'm going to just keep adding a little bit more shadow and a little bit of darkness and a little bit more depth and contrast. As you can see with each color, as I get a little bit darker, I'm not adding as much color. I'm not going as far. So I've just got the darkest here, a little bit lighter, and working into the lighter. I'm going to go down here and add some darker color. And see how I'm using much less of it down here in this part of the images. All right, so there we go. Now, if I want to, I can go back in and add a little bit more shading. I can bring this color down a little bit more, a little bit farther, add a little bit more interest there. And what I can do is I can go back over with my lighter color and I can go ahead and kind of blend this out with my lighter color. Now, if you are using Prismacolor pencils have a colorless blender. This is the wax of all the pencils, but it doesn't have any pigment like the others. So as you go in, you can color over the top just like you're coloring over everything, and it smooths and blends everything out. And I don't really have a special way of doing this to blend these out. I just color over the top and over the section that I am working. And there you can see how my color is blending and looks much smoother with its transitions than it did before. I'm going to go ahead and off, and then there we have the body of our cat. I'm going to continue the same process with the rest of the cat, and I'm just going to go ahead and color, and you can watch. Okay, so now we have the cat all colored, and you can see the places where I went in and added the shading and used my different pencils. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color in the ears, and I'm just going to use this really light pink. And I'm not going to add too much texture or any shading or anything in there. Just going to do a really gentle color in there. And then I'm going to do a little bit of cheek right here, and I'm just going to barely pushing my pencil down, make a very light circle where I think there should be a little bit of pink, or a little bit of cheek color there. So we've got that, and we can go ahead and we can blend the ear out a little bit anyway. I wouldn't blend the cheek out, I would leave the cheek alone. You're just trying to float that color. And let's go ahead and do the collar. And red's my favorite color, so I always gravitate to red. So because this is a smaller spot, I'm not going to try to shade with 3 or 4 colors. I'm just going to worry about 2. I'm going to lay down my basic reddish color here, which is almost a reddish orange color. I'm going to go ahead and add the darker red over the top. and then we'll blend it out. Now, if you're wondering how I chose my colors, in color pencils, very much like your Copic markers, there are color numbers on them. So when you're pulling them from the same color family, then you know they're going to work together. So for example, this marker is 922 and the darker one was 925. So they're from the same color family. So that's how I grab my pencils. So I wanted to point out a couple more things. Sometimes when you're coloring, you go outside of the lines, and so you can get a good eraser and you can go back in and you can erase spots where your color has gone out, and it will remove that nicely. Another thing is that when you sharpen your color pencils, the key to sharpening your color pencils is to move the sharpener and not the pencil. So you want to turn your sharpener and hold your pencil still, and that will help keep your leads more intact as you are coloring. So there we go. We have our cat all colored and ready to go. I foam mounted this die cut cat to my card, and I just used a green pencil to create some grass underneath our kitty and colored in the flowers stamped behind him. So I hope you learned a few things about coloring with your color pencils. Have fun coloring.